A thank you to Graham Webb for coming down and his work over the last 12 months, mate, to sort out the mess of Johnson Shire, and Bishop Beach residents, I know, certainly support your efforts, and we thank you. So I think that's a big point. And I know you've been working hard with the government, and I think it's a really big thing and a big plus for how this council and government is going to go. I've got a couple of things to say. I'd love to say what I want to say, but I'm afraid they put me out.
Questions, Paul.
Yes, funding officer, that's been talked about, that's very important, and the more the councillors put on that, some have mentioned it. Studies, you know, this place is the most studied town ever. Don't do any more studies, for God's sake. There's 20,000 of them out there. Joanne, if you do get in, I suggest you have a look at those studies instead of asking the other candidates, because 7 out of 10 sport and rec studies show that sport and rec is the pool. It's not bikeways. We do want bikeways, Mission Beach. They've been robbing us blind for I don't know how long. There's plenty of money already in the coffers from developers and everything else. Let's not say that we'll spend up in Innisfail, Cardinal, everywhere else. We need to spend here because that's where they get the money. So yes, do the bikeways, do the pathways. You should have already had the money because they've been taken off us for I don't know how long. Some people paying $10,000 each. So we need, which leads to my question, we need the government to help us out. And I want to ask these mayors how they're going to say end the inequity. When they were talking about the amalgamation, they said that no council was going to be worse off. So they've already said they're going to be weak. I would like to know how the mayors will approach that. 175,000 grown, 175 million, sorry. I thought that was only in Johnson Shire. Is that in both shires, what they're saying, the next 10 years? Sorry, just a quick yes or no?
I think it's Spirit's report will identify those shires.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was all Johnson. That's still 116 million from Johnson Shire. What are the mayors going to do to make the inequity of Cassowary residents going into this amalgamation, which is, to me, it's the biggest point. We need money quick. Thank you.
It's not raised tonight here by anybody, but the fact of the matter is, if that's going to happen, that the government's going to have to find the money, because it's not going to be able to come, in my view, from the ratepayers of this shire, for the simple reason that it's too much money on someone else's land. So my job, if I'm elected, is to make sure that all that money that's been spent today to enable that to happen is paid for by the people who are going to get the main benefit from it, Education Queensland. And there is a huge case to be made, and the ministers acknowledge it, because of their mistake of the $23.5 billion, that the obligation is with the state government to make sure that this financially weak region is not penalised. And secondly, that Cardinal Shire people aren't penalised in subsidising Johnson Shire. They've made the 2 points. And as for the inequity between that, how they solve that, especially with these huge anomalies between the rates. There are, I think, 14 categories in one shire and 15 in the other. The only way to make it work in the short run is for there to be 29 categories, so that the changes that will occur on the basis of what there is existing now for the 2 different areas. So in other words, if there won't be huge drops or huge increases for people initially, there'll need to be some sort of phased-in period, and the valuations that will be occurring next year are going to put another complication in that. A third complication is the discounts that are given. By law, only one discount can be given. Cardinal gives 15% on all the rates, Johnson gives 10% on the basic rate. That's got to be sorted so that there can be, by law, only one discount rate given. So there we have to be a lot of accounting fine-tuning to make sure that people in either the north or the south aren't unduly penalised. There, to get to Brisbane as soon as possible and keep the government to its promises.
Thank you, Paul. That all communities should have people like Paul within their area, because Paul's a doer. He doesn't talk about things, he gets in and does it. And he certainly did that the hours following Larry. He was out there with the chainsaws and the trucks and all sorts of things like that, helping his community out and not expecting any return. That was arranged well after the event of Paul getting out there. So thank you for your contributions there too, Paul. With The funding issue, I'm sure that the great work that Graham Webb has done in the past 12 months, I've had the opportunity to work with Graham after being invited by Minister Andrew Fraser to be a member of the Community Reference Group. Graham has been doing great work with working with the state government in working to get additional funds, and through the natural disaster that smashed into us almost 2 years ago, I have the contacts within the state government. I know most of the, well, I know the Premier Anna Bligh, and I know most of the ministers now on a first name basis, so I'm very confident that come the new local government area, being the Cassowary Coast Council, I would feel very confident in going to Townsville and speaking with the ministers and the Treasurer and the Premier and in gaining additional funds, and the best way to be doing that will be through increases of subsidies above the standard, say 40% for water and sewage. I feel very confident that we could get much greater than that in the subsidies from the state government. For every 1% above the standard that is contributed by the state government, that is less dollars that has to be found locally. So I'm very confident of being able to work with the state government representatives and the ministers, etc., in working towards that.
The local transition committee has put together a transition action plan, which I would be following the guidelines. With funding, I guess I would be pretty well straight down there to meet with Mr. Fraser from the Treasury Department in gaining funds. And I guess we would need to work as a council to really prioritise what we need the funds for, and it's going to be a long 10-year plan.